Welcome to Ask Me Anything, featuring spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Ask Me Anything. I'm spiritual medium and psychotherapist and an author, Kellee White. And today is June 11th, 2026. Have a lot to say. We've been dodging tornadoes. Shout out to you, Elizabeth. Please stay safe. This is a very intense, been an intense couple of days here. But let me say hi to a few people. And I've got lots to say. And we have a really great topic tonight because we are going to be talking about soul ties and past lives and people who change our lives forever and why we can't let certain people go out of our lives. So we'll be talking about that. And I'll tell you what I've been up to again with these tornadoes. Anybody else in the tornado area? If you are, stay safe. Stay safe. Hi, Melissa. She says, can signs from our loved ones help us to let go of certain people? And I mean, we're going to talk about that, Melissa, because I think that the universe gives us signs all the time about things to do and things not to do. But do we actually sit down and listen to ourselves? Probably not as much as we should until you've been whacked so many times that you go, all right, I'm going to sit this one out. And that's actually why we come to Earth, for free will to experience and make our own choices. But we're going to talk about the certain energies that come into our life on purpose to help us make some different choices or the same choices or all to learn and grow, right? Which is why we come here. Hi, Mrs. Shipo. Now, yes, I'll get you a card when I come back. After I say do a lot of work here, and then I'll come back and I'll get you a card. Hi, Leslie. How are you guys doing? Well, thank you. So thanks for asking. For people that aren't aware of it, we had to put our beloved dog, Charlotte, we had to send her to the Rainbow Bridge. And it was 2 weeks ago tomorrow. And it was really, a really challenging thing to do, really challenging thing because we love Charlotte so much. She was very, very ill. And Otis is not doing very well. Although shout out to you, Michelle Kavanaugh, Snowy Owl. Oh my God, Snowy Owl Intuitive. She was really great. She's been working a lot with Otis, and he stopped eating for a few days. And as of yesterday, he started eating. So thank you, Michelle. He's eating now. We are probably going to get him a new mate because he really needs somebody. It's really hard if you've had a dog, if you have two dogs and one passes. I mean, I'm sure many of you guys have been through that experience. This is a first for us because we never had two dogs before. But boy, the connection, the bond between those two is so deep. And he is suffering. I mean, you can see it. He barely will take a treat. And, Charlotte was all of our energy. She was extraordinary. And she certainly was Otis's deep companion. Come on, Odie, we're going to go out and do this. I mean, I will tell you, yesterday, I always get up in the morning and now just Otis out. So I open the door and there's a squirrel on our front door, literally right there. Now, normally if Charlotte had been there, they would have run out and tried to get that squirrel. And Otis literally looked at the squirrel and was like, yeah, whatever, and turned around and walked. And I swear to God, the squirrel, who was on all fours, got up and put his arms like on his little belly or something and was like giving me the look. I was like, Otis, you don't want to go get this squirrel? And even the squirrel knew it. So yeah, he's depressed. So anyway, and I appreciate everybody that has asked about him and any suggestions. We really appreciate it, but we are looking for a special mate for Otis. We are. Okay. So thank you for asking, Leslie. Hi, Michelle. She says, can I have a card? I got laid off from my job in January. I will get back to you with that. Hi, Renee. And I will get you a card for health enhancement. Absolutely. Hi, Angela. Hi, Sarah. And the Children's School of Yoga. Almost the new moon. We're almost there, and we're going to talk about that. Hi, Sasha. He says, Kellee, this is a very interesting topic. I think we all have created connections in our lives over the years that can be reflected on. Oh, absolutely. Great word for that. Great word. Have some reflection on it. Some stay for a day, some a year, some a lifetime. That is the truth. So true. Jean, hi, Jean. She says, is this also when we let people go and they keep returning? So I'm going to mention that, Jean, and I'll talk about that in just a minute, because this is it's a new moon, but it's an interesting new moon. So yes, to that. Hi, Sandy. Oh my God, you got scheduled with Christine. Oh, Christine is a fabulous past life regression and in between lives regression. Oh, she's really, really great. Christine Chadsey, Chadsey, and with Christine with a K, and that is her website. I don't have it here right now, but you can Google it. She's great. She's terrific. So that'll be if you're want to have that experience, she's a great one to have that experience with. Really. And before I forget, a shout out to our dear friend Dwayne Morgan. Happy birthday, Dwayne. You're just such a great man, and I'm so grateful that you're part of my life and our community. You're terrific. Hey, Ann Margaret. Hey now. Remember Hey Now? Gary Shandling show. I never forget that. Hi, Laura. Yeah, this energy, Laura, but let's talk about it. Hi, Nicole. Nice to see you, honey. And Elizabeth, you made it. Oh my gosh, Elizabeth, please stay safe, honey. Hi, Gayla. I hope you had a really good time in Japan. Oh, Ann Margaret, you want me to tell the Doobie Brothers story? Okay, I will tell the Doobie Brothers story. Remind me in a minute, Ann Margaret, because I wanted to talk about the Vedic astrology. But I do have a very funny Doobie Brothers story that I was going to share last week. But between that and the Santana story, I chose the Santana story. But I will definitely get to this one. But let's talk a little bit about this new moon that we have on Sunday. So this Sunday, we have a new moon. And we have some very, again, we've got Jupiter in Vedic astrology. Jupiter is now in Cancer, which has broken that intensity, which doesn't mean that it's easy. It's just there was April and May were so intense. This is a little less intense energy. I think ultimately it's going to be a lot better. But beginning on June 12th, which is tomorrow, to the 14th, but I can say it's already really begun. It brings Uranus, the planet of shock and surprise, into an exact square with the north and south node, Rahu and Ketu. And there could be some very large global events that nobody sees coming, or some big changes. So this is in the next 3 to 4 days, really. But this new moon that we have on Sunday, on the 14th, this new moon lands at it's a critical degree. It's at 29 degrees of Taurus. Now in Vedic astrology, it's in Taurus. This is the second new moon that we have had in Taurus in a month, because a month ago, exactly, we had another new moon in Taurus. So this second new moon in Taurus puts it's a new moon is always a new beginning, but on this level, because it's at 29 degrees, it brings an ending and then a quick beginning. And so we will still see this with Uranus is still in the midpoint of Rahu and Ketu. So some big energies come in on that new moon, because the very next day the sun and the moon move into Gemini. So it goes from an earth sign to an air sign, and it could bring some big changes into all of our lives. Even let's say you've been waiting for a job. All kinds of things could happen. We're going to see big, I think, large changes, personally and in the world. This is in the next few days, and this is in the nakshatra called, I'm not going to get this right, Megashira, which means the head of a deer. And the deer is always curious and always searching for fresh grass. And so this means you might feel a strong desire to seek new things, new answers, new knowledge, new truth for you. And it's at a really special place, because it goes from the earth sign, it goes in from Taurus, but at the last degree, and then moves into an air sign, Gemini. And Gemini represents curiosity, and Taurus earth sign represents stability. So we might be stepping off into some really new place here. So the energy may feel for this new moon. It could feel a little unsettling. It could feel a little unsettling, actually. And the situations that come out of this may be destabilizing because it will help you deconstruct and then transform. So this new moon is an unusual one because we will be transforming, and probably quicker than you think. Like all of a sudden you might think, I'm going to work on this, event that I had in my life, or I'm going to work on whatever it happens to be working on things with this in this next period that we're in. So go ahead, put your crystals out. This is if you want to do that, that's a great thing too. Or, set your goals, set some intentions here, really, and just know that this energy works quickly. And again, on June 15th, the sun transits into Gemini. So if you were born between June 15th and July 16th, you would actually be, in Vedic astrology, a Gemini. And this period, I think it's going to go very quickly because the sun in Gemini represents the soul and vitality. So let's say you've been wanting to get on a health kick, or you know that you really want to take care of yourself with vitality. This new moon, set those intentions. Let's say you do want to find a new job. Set your intentions. This is a really powerful time to set that energy. Again, the energy goes almost like a liftoff energy. So it's a really powerful. It may feel destabilizing to some people, and it just could. But then it's going to feel good. It's going to feel actually good. So these are some large energies that we're looking at. Okay. So that's what we're going to look at in the next period of time right now. Okay. And Margaret, how do we let go of friends that no longer serve us? Would love to know. And people that come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, which is what James says all the time. And by the way, James is going to be on my show next week. Yay. We're going to catch up and we're going to be talking about predictions. So join us next week. So let me talk about what tonight is. I mean, the thing is, you might say, why can't I let this person go? Because we've all had those people in our life. And maybe we're talking about a former partner, or maybe a friendship, or maybe a lover, or maybe, somebody that you barely knew that comes into your life. And we've all had those people. And for literally a moment, and things have changed in you. And so you may have done all the right things. You may have moved, you may have dated other people, but you focused on your healing, but somehow that energy of that person is still part of you. So we're going to explore that, psychologically and spiritually of what goes on with this. So as we talk about soul ties and karmic relationships and past lives, and I've been asked a lot about twin flames, so we can talk about that, and soulmates, and why some people arrive in our lives carrying lessons for us, that really can alter the course of our soul's journey. I mean, all of us can look back and say, that one person, if that person hadn't been there at that time, I would not have gone through that door. This wouldn't have happened. So I think it's really important that you also might think of some of these people that helped your life, and as difficult as some people may have been. I mean, I think I have had a lot of difficult people in my life, a lot, but they helped me get to where I am. They helped me really find my voice, actually. So anyway, so let's just talk about this. So here we go. Before we talk about soul connections, let's talk about human attachment. And as a psychotherapist, I've seen many people mistake emotional wounds for spiritual connections. And sometimes we aren't attached to the person. We're attached to the hope that they represented, or the future we imagined, because that's what happens. You get in a relationship and then all of a sudden you are immediately projecting out into the future, as opposed to paying attention to what is going on right there. Everybody does that, I think. And also, it could be the version of ourselves that we became around them, for the positive or for the negative. Okay. And maybe the healing that we wished that they would have given us. So when someone activates an old wound, whether it's abandonment, I heard today and Shirley and I are going to do a topic on that. And hi, Shirley, if you're watching tonight, we're going to talk about parental rejection because that's a big topic and we're going to be having a show on that. But it could be betrayal or worthiness. I work with a lot of people about low self-worth, low self-esteem, and that can actually create a loop in our nervous system. So because the story really wants some sort of a resolution. So that doesn't necessarily mean the connection is spiritual. Sometimes it's psychological, and sometimes it's both. So let's talk about what is a soul tie, because that I get asked that question a lot. It is an energetic bond that is formed between two people. And these connections can feel instant. Oh my gosh, how many times have I heard people say, but I just immediately I knew. It could feel familial. Familiar. It could feel familial as well, like family. It can feel magnetic, and it can be difficult to explain. It may be, though, you feel like I've known them forever, or you may understand each other without, even speaking words. I had somebody say this to me today. You may even feel that emotions when they're nowhere around you. You may just feel them, but not every soul tie is romantic. And soul ties can occur between friends or families. I mean, I remember meeting my old best friend, Charlene, when I was 20 years old, and I knew immediately that we were going to be friends for life. I don't know how to explain it. I just knew it. Before I met James, I knew, reading his book, I knew we were going to be friends for life. I didn't know the man. I didn't meet him for 3 years after that. But as I read the book, I said, no. I just knew. So there are those people that come into our lives. Teachers, absolutely. Teachers can really help shape our lives. Children can, obviously children, mentors, romantic partners. And the purpose of a soul tie is for growth. That is, again, why we come to Earth. And the purpose is not dependency, unless the soul contract with that soul is about dealing with not being dependent. I mean, again, every relationship can have some pretty deep meaning here. So if a connection prevents your growth rather than support it, it's really important to examine yourself and honoring your own soul lesson, or you risk being trapped in the attachment. Again, we come to Earth, there are booby traps everywhere. Okay. So don't blame yourself and don't have any shame about any of this. But we come to Earth, we're going to have all kinds of experiences. We get ourselves in an experience, we can get ourselves out of an experience. So karmic relationships maybe versus soulmates. And that's one of the most misunderstood concepts probably, is that, there are karmic relationships that occur, and then we have soulmates. And a soulmate can feel one of two ways. It can feel supportive. And when it's not supportive, I often call them cellmates instead of soulmates. But yet, we tend to romanticize what a soulmate is. But to me, a soulmate is a connection that we're going to have that is going to teach us something. But a soulmate also would encourage growth. And even in the negative, if this person is negative, you are still growing from the experience because you're learning boundaries. Very important. You're learning to speak up, getting your fifth chakra going. So they encourage growth, they encourage healing, they encourage expansion, which again, why we incarnate. But a karmic relationship might feel intense. And if you've ever had any of those experiences, it could be with a personality disorder. And before I forget, Shirley and I are teaching a class on personality disorders on June 27th. So please join us for that. But there could be a lot of passion. There could be an attraction. There could be a chemistry. So is that really a soul mate? Again, it could be a cellmate, as I call it, or it could be just some karmic situation that you need to figure out and then move forward in it. There could be a lot of passion, chemistry with that as well. But, There also can be emotional turbulence. So again, if you're in a situation where there's a lot of emotional turbulence, that could be a real karmic situation. And you want to watch, have you repeated this pattern? Have I been down this road before? Oh, because often if you go down the road the first time, the second time, it may look different, but it may be the same experience, only it's way more intense. And if you do it a third time, it could get even more intense. So really, you learn all about yourself. Also, when we come to Earth, particularly this period of time that we're in, it's about unfinished lessons, things that we have not completed yet. So often when I do readings with people, I'll say, this is a soul completion lifetime where you are completing the mission that you may have begun lifetimes ago. And this energy for this timeline is set up to do a lot of completions for people. That's why you'll hear so many people say, oh, I'm not coming back. Well, they may not have to, actually. They may not come back to Earth anymore. They may go to other, lots of other galaxies to learn and explore. So, but karmic relationships, they're not punishment. So you never think of yourself as, oh, I chose this and I'm being punished. No. They are classrooms. You are learning often from a master. It could be a master manipulator. It could be a master gaslighter. Whatever it is, you're learning. It could be lessons from a malignant narcissist. I mean, it could be all kinds of things that you are learning. And so they teach us what our soul came here to Earth to learn, which is, again, we want to learn compassion for ourselves. Remember that, compassion for ourselves, especially when you have a karmic tie that you come to a conclusion that you may have to leave, or you come to a place of you've left, and to let that energy, to work through that energy, let your nervous system work through that energy. So, because once the lesson is learned, that relationship may naturally complete itself. It just does. I remember being once with my ex-husband a few years ago, and we hadn't seen each other in 30 years. And I was amazed. We got brought together for just literally like 5 minutes. And I happened to be in Los Angeles, and it was literally about 5 minutes. And he said to me, I owe you an apology. And I was stunned. I didn't expect it. I mean, I really didn't expect it ever. The words I never thought I would hear. But what happened is it was very healing, actually, to get that, to have that experience. And I really feel that completed itself. Whatever it was that was even hanging out there remotely, everything. Now, I won't get that from other people in my life. So I'll take the win. One for the win. And some of you may have had that experience, right? Anyway, the challenge that many people continue to have is trying to save a relationship that was only meant to teach them. Again, get the lesson, and it's okay to move forward. It's okay. So with past lives and soul regression, I often get this question: how can I feel so connected to somebody I barely met? And that is a real thing. That's a real thing. And sometimes your soul recognizes like a frequency or a vibration before your mind recognizes the person. And so through readings and spiritual work, I've seen many examples of past life connections that appear in current relationships. And you may encounter somebody and immediately feel, I know this person. And in fact, last week and this week, I've heard more of my clients tell me that. That's interesting. I wonder if we're headed into a pattern of that now. And it's not because you met them before in this lifetime, but because your souls have traveled together before. And having said that, we plan how and what we're going to experience on Earth. Well, I say we put together a plan. It's not always followed, and it can go cattywampus pretty quickly. But ultimately, it brings us back to what we are supposed to know. So we can't even get that far off the path. You might think, oh, I'm so far off my path. Oh, you're not. Your guides just laugh at that. No, somehow it comes back. They bring you back in again. But that doesn't mean that you are also meant to stay with somebody forever. That doesn't mean that either. And sometimes the soul returns simply to complete unfinished business. In fact, James wrote a book called Unfinished Business. And that happens. Let's say you started a lifetime with somebody that was like a soulmate to you. I mean, somebody we were really connected to, and that person passed earlier. And you really never got to finish that, and then this lifetime you meet that person and it's a quick recognition, and then you get to finish that. That absolutely can happen. Okay. Again, it would have been a plan on the other side before we come in, but sometimes they return to help awaken something within you. And that happens more than you would imagine. Let's say you had been treated badly when you're a teenager, and you meet somebody out of the blue that says to you, you really are beautiful. You really are smart. You really are this. It starts to feed that part of you that needs that, and then it grows. You may have never seen that person again in your life. And those things actually happen. It might happen when you least expect it. You could be at a grocery store and somebody says something to you that just penetrates exactly what you're needing to hear at that moment. So, and those are real situations that help our soul on this path. Okay. And it often happens to remember who you are and to remember your own power. I work with so many people that forget their own power. And really, it's my job is to remind them of how powerful they are. And maybe they didn't get it from their parents. Maybe they didn't get it from a relationship. But somebody in life, you will have put people in life to help you remember who you are. So remember, we don't all just we put some really great people in and we put some real lousy people in. Okay. Because that's how we learn. That's how we learn. Maybe I shouldn't say lousy, but challenging. How's that one? Okay. Now I've heard, every once in a while I'll have a session with somebody that will say, let's talk about twin flames. So we're going to talk about twin flames. And there's a lot of confusion around that topic. So some people believe that a twin flame relationship is going to last forever. And I don't believe necessarily that is true at all. Because if there is such a thing as a twin flame, and a twin flame is, how do I explain that? It is, it's this concept where one soul is split into two expressions. And so it's the other half of you, right? And so, but the other half of you would cause a lot of acceleration in your growth, because the other half, that other twin flame of you, that other part of you would be like, oh no, you've got to learn this or that. And so it doesn't mean that it is an easy relationship if that exists. It would mean that a twin flame soul, somebody that you're deeply connected with, would be a catalyst to accelerate your growth, and it would push your evolution. So it can be a beautiful thing. It can be a very painful thing. I've had people say, but he was my twin soul, or she was my twin soul, and it ended up this way and it was awful. And yes, it would have accelerated your growth. Now, do I believe in twin flames? Not necessarily. I mean, I get pushback on this. It's not, I believe in soulmates, and that we have lots of different soulmates in our life. I don't know about twin flames. I mean, again, I've heard it, and it's not to push. I think people tend to think of it as a real romantic thing. And I think about it, when I think about it, as somebody that would cause an acceleration in growth. And growth can be painful, right? But it doesn't mean that you can't meet the most amazing soul and have the deepest soulmate connection also on earth. That can happen as well. So, but the relationship, doesn't mean that it would last forever with a twin flame. But sometimes within a twin flame situation, I use that term loosely, but somebody who gets drawn into you're drawn into their energy very, very quickly like that, and you go into the twin flame, it might be my twin flame. That could be that they're only meant to stay for a season. And that season could be a very short trip here with you. Again, it would be to accelerate your growth. What did you learn? So and just for fun, take a moment and think, is there somebody that you can't let go of? Is there some person in your life that awoke something in me? And what lesson did this connection teach me? Because I think Earth is all about making these connections. So what have you learned? Am I attached to who they are, or am I attached to who I hope they would become? You know? And is there a part of myself asking for healing in those relationships? So, again, no judgment here, just awareness. I mean, I think the reason I love to do this show is to bring people awareness into things. So just think, is there anybody that has come into your life that, caused you to grow, whoever they are? And again, we come to Earth to grow. So that's, I think, the important thing to remember here. Okay. So, and upcoming events, let me remind you, tomorrow we have our Whispers from the Soul community, which I'm really looking forward to because I couldn't do it 2 weeks ago. So I'm really excited to see everybody that's part of my app. And if you're looking for ongoing spiritual support or teachings or meditations or affirmations or destiny card insights, please, and like-minded souls, please join us from Whispers from the Soul. And you can find that on my website, kelleewhite.com. Also, I think I have some sessions for June coming, that I'm still have available. So please check my website if you'd like to have a session with me. It could be mediumship, it could be spiritual counseling, it could be a yearly reading, whatever it is. I offer a lot of things on my website. And on June 27th, Dr. Shirley and I are teaching a live Zoom class, and it's called Why Do They Act That Way? Why do they act that way? And it's understanding personality patterns and triggers and boundaries. And so it's going to be a very important class, and we will have time to take individual questions or individual situations that you may be having, because between Shirley and me, Shirley's a psychologist and I'm a psychotherapist, and we can talk about it from a spiritual standpoint, or certainly talk about it from a psychological standpoint. And if you've ever experienced, repeated relationship struggles or emotional reactions that feel out of control, or do you feel drained or confused? Are you walking on eggshells? This is a really great class because we will be talking about personality disorders. So it will really, I always feel it's really important to know this kind of work. Anyway, what else? Let's see. I'm going to answer a bunch of questions now, I think. Oh, in fact, you know what? I had a question, and this was a good question. This is from Carlene. Carlene, she says, does everybody have a twin flame? So here's what I want to say about that. If everybody has a twin flame, if that is a thing, then most people, and I would say it's like 99.9%, would not have that experience on Earth, because and that other twin flame, the other half, would be in another, not on Earth at the same time. Typically, that's how that would work. But you can go through life and not meet them because, again, from what I understand, if that exists, they are not here with us at the same time. Okay. They can help us through, and they can, but and really, it's funny because they're categorized, if we really think about it, with twin flames, it's more of a extreme mirroring, because somebody will say, oh, they're exactly like me. They think this, they think that. And so that could be a real, the expression could be there so much that you would think for sure it's my twin flame. Now, could it be? Again, I don't know if that actually exists or not. But theoretically, the idea is that they would not be here at the same time as you. So you would not miss meeting them, is my point here. It's a long way around the barn. And I think that often it is a infatuation. So somebody meets somebody and they're highly, there's big infatuation, and immediately you go to, oh, the twin flame. And I go to, oh boy, where are we with this? Where are we? What are you learning? What are you missing in your life? What are you learning? I mean, I can, and I am a romantic. It's not that, but anyway, I'm also a practical person. I'm very practical. So she says, there was a guy a long time ago. We had a brief relationship. We both knew that there was no way it would ever work out, and we went our separate ways. We still occasionally communicate, and that's the pull of the connection. I'm happily married, and I do feel that it was meant to be. So a soulmate is somebody that you can have lots of soulmates in your life, lots of soulmates, because each soulmate would teach you something different. You might learn this from the experience, or you might learn that from the experience. And then again, there are some relationships that are cellmates. Cellmates. That's I learned that from an actress years ago that said this to me, and I'll never forget. I wish I could tell you who it was, but I can't. But she was so smart with that one. Anyway, and Laura Crum says, is it with the passing of one that many a tie shall never break? For endless love is eternal. Absolutely. If somebody passed that you had a deep connection with, that tie always remains, and they will come through in readings for me. That's how that works. No, that love would absolutely remain. Absolutely. And the next question is, if one has a soulmate and they pass, then when one then passes, do they continue to see each other? Oh, of course. Absolutely. 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 We have all kinds of relationships on this side, on that side. Absolutely. Okay. So Anne Margaret says, how do we let go of friends that no longer serve us? And they would love to know. Well, you start letting them go. I mean, when you have to let go of friends that no longer serve you, you just move forward. You literally move forward. Now, is there some grief with that? Possibly. But I remember having to make some real conscious decisions, especially when I started changing so much spiritually, of who I wanted to spend time with or who I wanted to talk to even. And if they weren't where I was at this level, I just didn't want anything to do with them. And it could be sad, but everybody's where they are. Just meet people from where they are. I guess that is. Oh, thank you, Marge. I had my hair blown out the other day just because I wanted to change. I was feeling good, and I go, I'm going to give it a go. I used to do my hair all the time this way, but I actually had it professionally blown out. So thank you. Carla, yes, Carla, there is a tornado watch in Lake Geneva. Yes, your birthday was a week ago. Okay, let's do some angel numbers, and I'll give cards for people back there too. But I love the topic of all, looking at soul ties and karmic ties, and it's just to help people get real conscious of who is in their life. And everybody's in your life for a reason, and again, a season or a lifetime. Here we go, Carla. 5151, optimism. There you go. Ooh, I like that. Optimism. You're a very optimistic person. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, Mrs. Shipona, let me get you a card from the angels. Ooh, 3939, playfulness. So I know you're feeling confused. It's okay, honey. It will change. This energy will change and you'll feel better. Go out and maybe have some fun. And a lot of people are a little confused. This energy is a little confusing, frankly. It's it is. Oh, this timeline is something else, right? Okay, Michelle Krantz says, can I have a card? I just got laid off from my job in January. I've heard that from so many people, Michelle, and have not been able to secure another job. Here you go. Ooh, 303. So I want to say it's forgive. So do you have a lot for you? Do you have to forgive somebody that laid you off? Do you have to forgive yourself for this? What does that mean for you? But you will get another job. These energies are changing quickly. You'll get another job. Okay. Hi, Renee. Let's get you a card too. Ooh, Renee, this is for health enhancement. Are you ready? 777. Luck. Luck be a lady tonight. There you go. Your health will get. In fact, this is such a good new moon for beginning health. If you guys want to start on a new health regime, this new moon is a winner for that. Oh my gosh. It is a really, really good one. Okay, here we go. Okay, all right. I'm going to tell you the Doobie Brothers story and Margaret had asked me about it, and I will tell you something very, very funny, and then we'll do some more cards. A few years ago, while my mom was still alive, I used to do her grocery shopping for her on Tuesdays. Do you remember the book Tuesdays with Maury? Well, mine was Tuesdays with Lou, and I would take her to the doctor, and she lived in Beverly Hills, so I do all my shopping in West Hollywood and for my mom. And one day I had to go on a Tuesday, and I had to go at like 2 in the afternoon. It was like 2 in the afternoon. So I dropped my mom off, and I pulled into the Pavilions parking lot in West Hollywood on Santa Monica, on Big Santa Monica. And I pulled into the parking lot, and I thought, how odd. Nobody's here. Seems odd. I mean, for West Hollywood, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, whatever. So I went in, and I walk in to the supermarket. If you've ever been to Pavilions, a Vons, or just a regular supermarket, I walked in, and there were these men that were standing behind 2 tables. And I walked in, and I thought, this is the oddest thing I've ever seen. And a couple of them had some long hair and whatever. And I'm like, what's going on here? And then there were all these signs for the Doobie Brothers and the Doobie Brothers wine. And these poor guys were the Doobie Brothers that were standing there that had to sign autographs for their manager, Bruce, and I cannot remember his name, Bruce something or other. You can look up this wine. It's from Napa Valley. And the manager was there. And these poor guys, and I'm the only one that was there. For some reason, they hadn't opened the door. And for some reason, I just walked in, not knowing that I guess it wasn't even open yet. But anyway, and I said, you're the Doobie Brothers? Like, I could not believe it. And they were like, yeah, we're here. We're going to sign some autographs. And we started talking, and 2 of them knew Don really well. And Don was with Neil Diamond. And so Don was on tour at the time. So I said, well, look, let me, I had Don's American Express. So I said, I'll buy a case. So I bought a case of Doobie Brother wine, whatever it was called, by Bruce, the manager. Every one of the Doobie Brothers signed it. And thank you, Don. I bought literally a dozen. So no matter where I went, everybody got a bottle of Doobie Brothers wine, and I have 1 bottle left. So I still have the 1 bottle here. I should have brought it in because it's so funny. Such a funny story. So then about 6 months later, I had to go to a wedding in Texas, and I was in Texas at this at a good friend's house. His name was Bob and Debbie. Shout out to you, Bob and Debbie. They are very good friends of mine. And Bob goes, Kellee White, I'll have some really good wine for you to try. And you're from California. I want you to try this Napa Valley wine. And I'm like, woo, okay. So he pours this wine, and I go, oh, that is really good. What is that? He goes, you won't believe it. You won't believe it. It's the Doobie Brothers wine by his manager, Bruce. And I go, I can top that, Bob. Hold on a second. And I pick up the phone, and I called Don, and I said, I'm going to FaceTime you. Go get the 1 bottle of Doobie Brothers wine I have that was signed. But I never got to drink it because I didn't want to drink one. It was an autograph by the Doobie Brothers. So I still have it, but I didn't know if the wine was very good or not. Turned out it was delicious. It was the funniest story. But even the topper on that was my little brother Theo at that exact moment sent me a picture, it's the weirdest thing, of him performing with Michael McDonald that night before. So it was a whole Doobie Brothers experience. And by the way, Michael McDonald was not at the Pavilions in West Hollywood, but the rest of them were. But anyway, that's my and of course I've seen the Doobie Brothers many times, and Michael McDonald. But anyway, long story, but it was a funny, very funny story. And if you get a chance to drink that wine, it's very good. Wish I could remember the name of it. Okay, there you go. I had to get that story in. Okay. Oh, thank you. Ed Long says, big heart, Kellee. I love all the shows. Oh, thank you. And we're going to have one coming up with James. She says the trauma one the other night was great. Thank you. Yes. Let's get you a card from the angels. Here we go. Ooh, 2713, mindfulness. Be mindful of everything. Be mindful. Okay. Oh my gosh. Hey, Lizette, how are you? Thank you. Yeah, we are giving Otis a lot of time, and he is, slowly. It's slowly. He needs his time right now. Yeah, I believe that Charlotte's already on the go with trying to pick out the perfect one because she knows him. Squirrels also mean adaptability, Laura. Oh wow, he is not an adaptable dog, not at all. Charlotte was. And in fact, yesterday we had a big tornado situation like today, but yesterday was, well, they're both, today and yesterday were not good with tornadoes. So we had to get into the basement. I was in the middle of a session and I had to run into the basement, and Otis didn't want to go. So before, Charlotte would be the one, come on, let's go. So Dawn actually had to put him on a leash and say, come on, we got to get down to the basement. And Otis is like, oh my God, he hates going into the basement. And it's not a small basement. It's 2,500 square feet, but he just does not want to go in there. Okay. Vivian says, Kellee, I'm having health challenges. Well, keep pushing on and let's get you a card from the angels. 413 synergy. So synergetically, some good things will happen with you, Vivian. Okay, there you go. Hey, Tammy from Niagara Falls. Hey there. Hey, Maggie, how are you? Oh my gosh, James is going to be on next week. Not this week, next week. Hi, Michelle Kavanaugh. Oh my gosh, happy birthday, Dwayne. Snowy Owl Intuitive Services, Facebook. Check it out live on Sundays at 6 p.m. Central Time. There you go. I think that's a good one. Oh, Marquis says, oh, your birthday was yesterday. Sure, let's get you a card. Here you go. Ooh, 999. Very good for this particular time, actually. Release. Again, this new moon is it's an odd new moon. It's because it comes at the very last degree of Taurus. So you do want to let go of, I don't know, anything that has weighed you down, because Taurus is earth energies or anything that way, maybe material wise, that you just want to just get rid of. A lot of people are feeling like they want to clean their closets. That's an energy too that probably could happen very well this weekend. I think that could happen. Oh my gosh. Jerry, hi, Jerry. Can I have a card? My sister is mad at me. You betcha you can have a card for that one. Here we go. 808, security. Be secure in who you are. I don't ever know a time where sisters weren't battling it out. Oh, am I talking about myself? I guess so. It's true. Gail says Sunday is the 50th anniversary of my brother's suicide. Very tough couple of weeks. Oh, let's get a card from Talking to Heaven. Gail, 50th anniversary. Oh, I got chills. Ooh, whoa. It's funny. I just feel like a lot of regret around that. Okay. And that does happen when there's a suicide. If they could have just held out a little longer, and sometimes they can, sometimes they can't. There is no time where I am. Time is only on the earth. So, Gail, I think what that means for you is that 50th anniversary is like a minute away, So really just lots of love and prayers to your brother and lots to you, Gail. That would have, that's a huge one. So what am I trying to say? It's a big card, big one. Lisa, 3344. Let's get you a card from the angels, honey. 77, purpose. What's your purpose here? There you go. That's a good one. Okay. Let's see. Fluffy Pancake says, I like that Fluffy Pancake. Agrimony, hawthorn, motherwort, and linden are wonderful herbs to use as a tea for self-worthiness. Good to know. Good to know. Marge says, I like to call the soul connections kindred spirits. And sometimes they are kindred spirits, because kindred to me is, we get along. And I mean, I have loved some of the times I've had in my life where I've been with, when I got to be with Mavis Patilla and James and some of our other friends that were there at the same time. And it was kindred spirits. And I remember very well when Mavis said, it was so sweet. She said, don't you just love this being together, this energy? And it really was very heavenly to me. So I've had lots of times like that are just extraordinary. And Margaret says, you too knew that you were going to meet JVP someday, James. I just knew it. And then you did. That is, then you met him many, many times. That's true. Then we went on a cruise together. That is true. Okay, Sarah says, I was born placenta previa, and I always felt my mom held that against me because my dad was away for work. He was a pilot, and she had to get the help of a neighbor. Sarah, I've heard these stories before, and it's a real strong possibility. If you have a feeling that happened, I mean, that would be your authentic experience there, Sarah. It's, I remember my mom was born 13 pounds, and she was 13 pounds, and she was born with no electricity on a mountaintop. And this gal in Alabama, but she ended up in Beverly Hills. But the relationship she had with her own mother was pretty horrific. And I always thought it was because she was such a large baby. And, it's interesting. There's something to what you're saying for sure. Okay. And then Sarah says, I felt that nothing I could do to make her appreciate me growing up. And that could be, just a very tough soul contract, a karmic contract. That could be it. So let's see. Renee says, Kellee, I've never understood the idea of some people wanting to erase people from their timelines. Oh, I've heard that too. Good question. This is good. It seems like setting the soul up in a loop of denying expansion. 100%. 100%. So when we come into this, each lifetime, if we come into this, we'll just take this lifetime. You may have the experience, like I was saying earlier. Well, I'll mention this again. When I got married the first time, I remember when I met my first husband, I heard a voice, and the voice said, you can do this now, or you can do this later. And I was like, what? And again, you can do this now, or you can do this later. And intuitively, I was 22, 23. I knew exactly what that meant. How did I know? I just knew. And so there was karma there. There was a karmic tie there that I had to work through. And I would say that we did. We worked through that one. So those things happen. Okay, Laura says, may I have a card for Arabelle? Absolutely, honey. Here's a card for Arabelle. I don't know how this fits. 4141, habit. Get some good habits in there. Good habits in there for her. Okay. I think that would be a good one. Hey, Patty. I think that is a good one here. Okay. Patty says, Kellee, my daughter is taking my husband's death really hard. Can I get a card for her? Absolutely. Here we go, honey. Let's get a card for her. Ooh, as a soul, I can be in several places at once. Make sure your daughter knows he's around her. I'll make sure she knows that. Okay, Patty? And also, horses and unicorns, I would think, hold something special for your daughter there. Okay? He's definitely going to get her attention. And Margaret says, cattywampus. I know. It's the truth. Earth is a cattywampus place, isn't it? Okay. Oh, thank you, Dee. Okay, let's see. Charlene Miller says, my longtime friend's son moved on June 1st. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Charlene. He was 41. A card from my friend from her son, Michael V. I keep praying every day that he gives her undeniable signs. Okay. Make sure you tell her this. He has no more earthly worries and sunflowers, okay? Make sure you get that, Charlene, for her. Tell her that he is definitely around. Okay. My class on Lizette says, what time is your class on June 27th? I believe it's 9 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern, and it's a 2-hour class. So we will be taking a lot of your live questions in this class about personality disorders and situations that you have. I mean, why do they act that way and what you can do about it? Shirley and I will have a lot to say about that class. So please join us. And we're going to be talking about triggers and personality patterns and really helping you understand how to move forward with them. We have some very good practical illusions. Okay. So we do. So here we go. Okay. Patty Campbell. Hi, Patty. She says, Kellee, I've been sick for over 2 weeks. First bacterial pneumonia, then a respiratory infection. It's been a rough road. Oh, honey, let's get a card from you for the angels. Sometimes we get in those places, Patty. Sometimes we do. And then we pull out of them. Okay. Ooh, 616. Here we go. Sanctuary. So make your home your sanctuary. Just take this time for healing. Not in a rush to heal. Maybe that's what this is about. Not in a rush to heal. Just heal. Snowy Owl Intuitive. That is the name of the Facebook page. Michelle Kavanaugh, Snowy Owl Intuitive Services. Oh, man, Margaret, you would love it. It's very good. Debbie Jewel, can I have a card 927? Let's get you a card 927. Here we go. Ooh, 272. Confidence. Confidence. I love that card. That is. Okay, Patty, start on a new health regime. That's very good. Charlene says, okay, you said it. My closest and dearest friend, Deb, moved on a couple of years ago. Her birthday was May 31st. I miss her so much. We were friends instantly. A card from my friend, Deb, please. We used to have ghostly experiences when we were together, so much so that as something, like it was something out of the norm. Oh, here we go. This is a good one, Charlene. Oh, I got chills. Life is a series of choices. Always choose love. Okay. Sometimes, have you guys ever looked in the clouds? You remember Vicky Nason, who used to always was our dear friend of our shows and mine. I just loved her. She taught me to look at clouds. So she would always find her husband in the clouds. And I'm not kidding you. Those pictures of him were unbelievable. So I look at clouds all the time now. And where I live, I'm really fortunate. I've got a lot of fluffy clouds out there, in between tornadoes and such. In between tornadoes. Okay. Hey, Nadine. Nadine, I'm going to get you a card, honey. Here we go. Ooh, bravery. Nadine, that's so you. 717. Bravery. That's a good card. Oh my gosh. Lisa says, can I have a card for direction? Yes, you can. Here we go. 11. Awaken. So 11 is the teacher. So I would think, Lisa, that you will be learning an awful lot. A lot this year. Is the way I would do that. The wine, Anne Margaret, was very, very good. I thought you would like the Doobie Brothers story. Oh my gosh, when I showed up, when this fellow friend of mine, good friend Bob, when he showed up and he's like, I could not believe that he was pouring that wine, because of all those bottles that I bought, I never got to taste it. I have a bottle here, never opened it. It's probably not good anymore because we moved and it was not stored properly and whatever. But it was a very, very funny story. Laurel Davis says, I used to walk to that Vons in West Hollywood. See, and almost to Doheny. Exactly right. And you can imagine, if you know that area, it's impossible that the store would have been like empty. It doesn't make any sense. And then I somehow walked in. I guess they were just preparing, and I was the first one on the scene. Okay. Tammy says, can I get a card for my brother-in-law? He just had a cancer revo. Okay. Let's get a card for him. Ooh, you'll love this. 3003. Inspiration. And I will tell you this. It reminds me of the planets tonight. We've got the moon and Venus and I think Jupiter, all really, really close connected together, a conjunction. So it's a very special energy. So if today is your birthday, Dwayne, it's a very special energy. Okay. It's a really special energy. Everybody can have that energy. Okay. Gail says, did I know Sylvia Brown? She was my first experience. I feel her. Does she have a message for me? Gail, it's funny. I got to meet Sylvia one time, and I waited in line to meet her. And I loved her son, Chris. I just thought he was such a good guy. He is a good guy. I felt so really bad when he lost his mom, because they were so close. Oh my God. But I only met her in line. So I'll get you a card. Why not? Gail, why not? I don't know if this is accurate. I don't know if this is accurate. And this might make you laugh, but here we go. She always gives you a good night kiss. Is she related? That I believe with her son. They were such a, I don't know, really very close. They seem very close, Oh my gosh. Well, you guys, listen, join Shirley and me on Tuesday. I forget our topic on Tuesday, but it'll be really good. And join us, sign up, go to Eventbrite, go to kelleewhite.com or psychologyandthesoul.com, and you can join us for the class in a couple of weeks, which is going to be really good. I still have some sessions you can sign up for. And if you go to my website for this month, and a week from today, James will be on, and we'll have a lot of fun with James. Okay. So goodbye, everybody. Have a great week, and stay safe, Elizabeth.
You've been listening to Ask Me Anything, featuring spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.